So it seems like we are about 2 games away from doing our next rank up. I'm still kind of interested in seeing how it will rank me up. I remember it being like just 1 or 2 ranks at first, and then if you kept winning, you got multiple ranks after that. But this last rank up went from 10Q to 7Q, so I have no clue how it's actually going to be. So let's get into it and see what happens. All right, found a game already. Gotta say hi. And I am black in this game, so we will see how I want to play. Ooh, a 3-4 point. I usually like to approach when my opponent does that. So I could just play another 4-4. But I think what I actually want to do is I kind of just want to take my own enclosure today. Just sort of feels like that today. Oh, okay. They are not wanting to play a normal game. So I will also take another enclosure. I don't want to be facing them. Or not another enclosure, but another corner. I don't really want to be facing them. So I'm actually going to play it facing my own stone, because I don't want to give them an easy approach. Just a personal preference thing there. So now they basically have a, was it a Kobayashi style opening, but missing one of the corners. So I'm okay with this. I'm very happy to just pull back here to make my group strong. And even with this one, I could just take the corner, which is usually a perfectly fine exchange when your opponent jumps up like this. So I think I will do that. I have 2 other corners, which is why I'm fine with just playing simple in this one here. They're trying to prevent me from invading, but this is definitely too small right now. So I'm very happy to just go and take an enclosure somewhere. Let's just do a normal low enclosure for fun. Oh, they're taking this move now. So I will get my other enclosure. I don't need to worry about going into my opponent's area right now. We have a lot of points on our own, so we don't need to worry about it. But they are getting a bit close to us. This is where we could invade, because this invasion would be attacking this stone here. That could be perfectly possible. We do eventually want to come back and connect at Q17, because we do have a weakness here. But it was just too small to do anything about it earlier. The other thing we could do is we could just expand our own area. I think my opponent was supposed to do something in their corner. I want to go there first. What they should have done is they should have gone back and enclosed and not come towards my own corner. So what we learned from AI for like the Chinese opening is to attach on top of the stone. So I'm going to try this attachment for fun. Look at, there's plenty of space here. So let's attach. You could also just approach. There should be enough room on this board to just approach. Normally you do Hane on one side or the other. If I Hane on the top, I think this top group is strong. So I don't necessarily want to be next to their really strong group. So I'm going to Hane on the left side of the group instead, because I think the other group over here is a little bit weaker. I want to be closer to the weaker side. That may have been a misclick on their part. But if I extend, that could be bad. So I will just connect anyway. But what we end up getting, maybe if it was a misclick, is we just get to capture this stone now. So we're pretty happy with that, to get to live in the corner. Normally I will not capture, but I think it doesn't really matter this time, so I'll just extend. Capture, extend, they both should be fine here. I'll just capture now, because they have a weakness they need to fix. While my group is likely alive, right? This group is likely alive. It's going to be very hard for them to kill it. It has 1 eye, and very likely another eye in this spot here. But if they do pincer me, they're making their group strong, and they're making it so that I have to live. I don't ever want to have to live. I want to make sure I'm just alive. So I am going to play one more move here. This gives me 100% 2 eyes, or like 99%, you could say. And I will block 2. And then they also have some weakness to consider in their own area. I will keep answering as well, because I don't want them to surround my group. Even though I'm alive, I want to still be out towards the center. I could jump, or I could just extend. Extend is like the standard shape. I'm alive, so I think I will jump instead, just to get out faster. So now they've fixed their group over here. We have 2 really nice areas that we can build, the right side and the bottom side. If they approach the bottom side right now, my corner is somewhat surrounded. So I'm going to play 1 more stone on the bottom. And then my next area I would want to play is the right side over here. Yeah, because now my corner is more than enough space. It's not that big of a deal if they do try to surround. And so we're going to go back over to the right side. They keep focusing on their group here. This is what I would call too slow. So like normally, even on this left side, I added another move to make sure I was 100% alive. I even blocked, making sure I was 100% alive, and I even jumped out so they couldn't surround me. But all of these moves have a purpose of some sort, but my opponent didn't need to jump here at h6. That wasn't very useful for them. This jump could be, prevents me from coming over the top, so maybe, but they definitely didn't need this one and this move over here. There was too many extra moves, so I would probably consider that one a bit more slow than normal. I'm going to go back to my corner and fix that weakness from before and see where they decide to play. They're going to peep over here for some reason, which I'm not exactly sure why. I'm just going to stay connected. So we just have to read what they're trying to figure out here, right? If they jump down to try to attack me and I push and cut, they're able to Atari and capture my stones. Okay, so there is something we should probably consider here. So I'm going to turn one time to make sure that is fixed. And now we don't have to worry about anything. And here, I don't really want to be surrounded, so I will come out a little bit more. By making sure that my group isn't surrounded, I'm also making sure they aren't making a large connected moyo in the center of the board. As long as that isn't there, I have a hard time doing anything over here in regards to making a large amount of points. Now I Hanate here because my group on the left is alive, which means I only have one thing to take care of, and that's all that I need to worry about. So to take care of it as easily as I can, I'm going to Atari here to help make me a little stronger. Then I'm going to extend. If I was really worried about this group getting attacked or killed, I probably wouldn't Atari. Because if we just extend out, maybe the Ataris on the other side could be useful in threatening to capture some stones. In this case, I'm very happy to be making influence towards the center, which is where my other group is. But now I do need to defend that group. Normally, I would just play the Tiger's Mouth. But on this board, we have Tengen. And so we're going to have to play Tengen right now. It's the only option. But in general, I want to defend this group one more time before I go and try to do anything extra. For example, we could apply a little bit of pressure to the cutting stones here. I'm not going to capture the stone because then they'd be able to push through. I don't want to let them push through. We're just going to make sure our corner is fine. This would be a little bit of reading if we do want to defend over here. If they just cut, we can Atari down and push, so that doesn't work. But that means that maybe there's a clamp that might work. If we go down, then they cut, we have to Atari up, and like it's starting to get a little bit more complicated. So I think I will just connect. If we want to worry about endgame, maybe we do a different type of connection, or maybe we go down. But I'm just going to connect to get rid of all weakness there. So that way I don't ever have to worry about it in the future. So now they're coming in. I'm going to prevent them from sliding under my group because they can't connect. So like the first thing I want to always think about is getting rid of the base. And then the second thing I want to think about is where they're going to run to. They have to run towards the center, but they can't actually connect to their own stone here. So I'm just going to prevent them from getting the base. Oh, they're still going to try to get at least some base here. I think that's probably fine. The most important thought in my head is what is my weak group going to do? If I run this group out in the wrong way, maybe it hurts my weak group. So I'm always thinking about my weak group. So I kind of want to apply some pressure in the direction where I might be connecting to my own weak group. So my first thought is actually to play this knight's move over here to push white towards the right side. Yes, I can make some points over here, but I do kind of want to make sure my groups are all safe. And so I want to do the attack in the way that helps me the most. They're actually playing a perfectly acceptable move, honestly, but this is allowing me to then go back over to the right side over here and defend in some way. I think it doesn't really matter which one. We'll play the large knight for fun, but they're threatening to come in, so we just want to defend that area. I do like that they very much focus on their groups so far. There's a possibility they'll get a little bit worried here soon, but they are just focusing on their groups. They do just have points, and now they're doing all their invasions and such. Now that everything is sort of settled, when they invade here, normally we would take the center of the board, and we could still do that, but they get to go live on the side, and then we have to make up the point difference in the center area. But because it's so late in the game, and not at that very early stage, like when people normally invade, we can actually consider just force them to run away instead. Because it's going to be hard to get a 100% secure area in the center of points. So we want to keep our points instead. We're pushing up here just to make sure they don't connect too easily. But overall, they're pretty safe here, so not too big of a deal for them. We're basically just at endgame now. For endgame, I think the easiest way to try to do something is actually to pressure a weak group first. So we could try to surround, but then they're going to get these side moves to try to live. So I'm going to take this side move down here, which is threatening the base of this group. And then depending on what they do, I'm going to extend up here because this is the vital point. You don't want to take away the tiger's mouth. Depending on what they do, we may be able to get even more free moves. I'm going to connect because I want to keep them slightly weak. And I think I will just block. They are not 100% alive, so they do need to play at least one more move. And I'm fine with still just blocking here. Getting to play a nice clean move on my side. They are just going to endgame, which I think is really good. The only thing is that maybe they didn't read out their group too well because their group is not alive yet. So we will be able to still do something here. For now, I'm just going to respond. If I mess up the fight and let them jump into my area and get rid of all my points, then I'm not sure if that was worth it for me. So I would much rather just respond, make sure I'm keeping all my points, and only do something when I know I have the opportunity to do so. Yep, gonna Hane. As I said, I'm just going to answer. I'm not even going to try anything fancy, like maybe I could answer over here to get rid of some other thing. No, I'm just going to keep it very simple, not worry about anything in my area. Okay, good, good, good. I wasn't sure if they were going to, but they did end up just defending their group. So I'm going to push in here to see how they respond. If they back off, then I know for sure they only have a certain amount of eye space. And here, we could decide to peep if we really want to be aggressive. We can peep in here and try to do something special. In this case, I was considering just poking at the shape. I'm going to poke from this side, I think. I don't want them to attach to my stones or do anything special here, so I'm going to poke from this side. If I get to poke through and do a bunch of damage, that'd be nice, but I'm not going to worry about it for now. And now we want to look at the next area where we can do a little bit of damage. We have a little bit of weakness on our own stones here. These stones are the weakest area still. If they cut through this, we feel bad. I don't know if they can, but if they can, we feel bad. So we want to make sure this is strong. I'm going to attach to this stone. This is a classic shape here. When they have the kicking move here with the extension, we can attach and maybe get some extra shape here with this. I'm just going to Atari directly because if we get to capture the stone, we're safe. So that is good enough. We can even throw in an Atari just for fun, but I'm just going to extend first. If we want to try to capture this singular stone, we could attach right now, and it's going to be a little bit difficult for them to do something, but it does look like they could try to fight back. Can we attach in a different way? See if we can cut this off. This is very important. We got to decide if we can or not. It looks a little difficult to cleanly cut this off, so I'm just going to extend here. They can connect up, but I'm going to get some nice end game. And I'll show you what I'm getting here in a second. So what's really cool, I'm going to use all their shortage of liberties here to potentially capture something. So if we push in here, and then we throw in over here, we have this nice Atari. And we can cut right now. They're going to be able to give up some stones in order for this to work for them, but we do get a nice end game here. We've already made our stones much stronger. So I feel pretty good about this situation. This is why I'm not worried too much here. Just to make sure my group is completely alive, because I could be fine if they do try to fight here, but I'm just going to make sure there's not a problem by doing this jump. Get rid of the vital point here. This is okay. I'm not really sure why they're doing that one. I don't want to let them Hane or anything, so I'm going to follow up. Now we can just go back to playing ordinary endgame. We got to have a little bit of fun, but we don't need to worry about that anymore, and we can just go back to, for example, this monkey jump on the top. It is very big. Is there anything that we need to worry about here? I don't believe there is anything we need to worry about here. Since I can't see a problem in our shape, I'm just going to play the monkey jump. And you see, I made sure to read that out as best I could first. I want to make sure there's no problem before I play away. standard monkey jump response. That was actually the right one, so good job. It would be nice to potentially reduce something on this side, so I'm just going to jump here to threaten to come in more. This also is indirectly fixing any problems if there were any anyway, so this feels pretty good. Might not even need to respond to that, but it is making cutting points in my area. If I want to be aggressive, I can actually do this diagonal here. If I cut off their stones, it doesn't matter if they cut off some of mine, but I'm just going to answer to keep it clean for myself. I don't need to do anything aggressive. I have points, they have points, we're good to go. I'm not exactly sure what that move is doing, so I guess they're threatening this cutting point again, but I can give up a stone there. So now we can go and do this diagonal. We can probably at least push one time going into this area. And now that we got our basic reduction that ended up getting us a decent amount of points here, we can just go back and answer now. Just why not? And I'm going to answer in a way that gets rid of a lot of co-threats and stuff here. So I'm going to play this one. Because I don't want them to threaten to capture those stones. Just answering. Probably just some small in-game here. The move in the corner is actually quite large. So that's probably where they should be playing. Maybe the Hane in the bottom left and then the upper left move over here. This is also probably fine. Just answer. Okay, they didn't actually need to do that. I was reading that out. I maybe reduce 1 point, but it's not too big of a deal. So they do have the Hane in the bottom left corner, which is quite big. I'm going to peep here just because it feels good. But then I think they're both quite large. I'd have to actually count them to know which one's actually better. But this one feels a little bit bigger. The A18 feels pretty good. And I'll even peep here just because I can, because it has a nice diagonal in a row. And then I'm thinking I want a Hane at A18. They should have probably gotten A3 for free anyway. So if they get it, it doesn't bother me too much. But if they miss it, then that seems pretty good for me. There we go. Now they got it. Yep, I'm just going to connect. We don't really need to respond to that one. We can just jump up right now. I guess the only thing to worry about is if they can wedge or something. I guess they kind of can if they really want to. But I do think it's probably fine anyway. But let's make it a little bit different. We'll do the peep here, going after these stones instead. A little bit more interesting move. And then we can go back and fix it like this. Now there's no wedge there. Should be fine now. They were threatening to make a couple points here in the center, and we were able to get rid of that. It's interesting, I guess. I'm just going to push in through here. So we do have this fun peep if we want to play it. But for now, we just need to just play some more fun big in-game. Let's threaten to capture these 3 stones. And we're almost done. We're almost done here. We can play the Hane in the top left. It's a ko, technically, if they wanted to play it. I kind of want something to be over here, but I think there's nothing there. So just simple in-game moves. Should be fine. I'll just go back and defend my own area. I mean, they can Atari me there. That's fine. I'm going to peep for fun. Yep. Because if I Atari'd them, I'd have to maybe extend again. I don't really want to do that, so this should be fine. Okay. They can threaten the cutting point here, but it doesn't necessarily do anything. Just keep playing all these simple end-game moves. And we're finishing up. Yeah, we can just connect. Making sure I didn't make a mistake. It looks fine. Looks like we can just connect. We are all good. Yep, this isn't gaining or losing any points there. There were no points there at all, so I'm fine with that. Yep, push in over here maybe next. I guess that makes sense enough. This one would be like a ko shape, so I think I'd rather connect on this side probably. Any other real end game to play just like those types of moves right now? Yeah, just simple moves. I'm just not seeing anything obvious, but I am not good at end game, so it's okay if I don't see anything obvious. Play some reverse Sente-ish stuff. It's probably end game name moves thing. I know stuff. Yep. Just a bunch of spots where they could push in, but they haven't done so yet. So, yeah, there we go. Push in. If they connect, they get at least a point there, and then I can go play over here. Yeah, I'm fine with answering. They are taking away my point, so I will take away their point while also connecting up my groups. Why not? The connection there doesn't do anything, but there is a point here, and I can also do this nice Atari. Either one's going to be fine right now. And then we can play this connection. Looks like we have all this stuff figured out. Yes, we just connect on the inside. I'm doing it now because there aren't really any other big moves anyway. So, oh, I guess there was this one. I did miss one here. We can play this move to get rid of a point. They could have played there, yeah. This is my problem with endgame is I'll get distracted by something and then just miss something entirely. This move doesn't do anything. There's no extra point over here, so we probably can just connect our ko and then just finish off everything. I wonder if he'll want to fill in Dame. It is Japanese rules, so we don't technically have to, but I will if he does. In this case, we got 3 very decently sized corners. Is this 4 technically? We took away the corner that they had, so it kind of looks like 4. I'll just push in here now. That way they know they don't have any points. And we'll start doing Dame. See if they play quickly or not. I don't have any liberty issue here. It's always good to double check all your liberty issues. But yeah, they have 1 decent size area and then 1 regular size. And then they just have sort of like 1 or 2 points in a couple other areas. So I should have more than enough to win here. But I really appreciate that they did not end up randomly dying. They did focus on their weak groups well enough. And I probably could have taken advantage of the one on the bottom to really try and do some damage, but I didn't necessarily need to. That was the only issue they really had. I decided to stay strong and not worry about it instead, which I suggest for most people to do unless you know for sure what you're getting out of it. Okay, they did not want to do Dame. Okay, cool. Pass, pass, pass. Yep, no dead stones to even mark. Cool. We can probably just say done. Okay. I won by 20 points. So overall, I think this was actually a pretty fun game, but something I wanted to highlight here at the end was how I thought they were playing actually too slow. Now, of course, they did do something slightly weird in the opening where they didn't even take one of the corners they were supposed to take, but it's not really what I mean in this case. Because even if they did take the normal corners, these are moves that I would kind of expect, honestly. But later on, after I did live in the upper left here, when they play this jump, that's good. I jump out. They could jump again if they are worried about getting surrounded, though it is slightly hard to surround. If I was going to jump again, I might jump from the other side. Really, I don't think it really matters too much. But you see, they did add plenty of moves to their own group, and that is what I suggest you to do. But they're already out towards the center. They've already defended this group multiple times. And so when they add one more defense here, this does end up feeling like it is too much at this point. Now, if they want to invade on the bottom, I understand why they would want to add one more move. So I don't really think that this was like a huge mistake or anything by them. But this is probably what I would say is playing a bit too slow. So for example, if they decided to just push and cut here to try to get something, I'm not sure which one I actually want. If I would want to, I guess I can just capture here and still come underneath like this. And maybe they want to cut in a different way, I guess. Didn't actually even think about it till just now. But yes, getting some sort of results over here. Let's say it's this for now to make it really easy. They got to get some points over here. You know, they need to follow up on something they threatened earlier, and then they still have 2 sort of invasion points. So if I play the bottom right area, they can still come in and invade on the bottom. And if I play the little bottom side, they can still come invade on the right side of the board. This is probably what they would want to do in order to try to make up that 20-point difference, right? So if we just take the difference here from the corner, I ended up getting maybe actually 10 points in this corner that are now taken away. And they didn't have anything here before. They maybe have even their own 10. Well, that may have been like a 20-point swing, honestly. I'd have to actually properly count that, but I just realized that was actually really big. Anyway, so if that's like a 20-point swing, this could have been enough of a difference to sort of make the game very, very close, right? So I was ahead by 20 points. They're not going to get this same reduction they got in the game. It is going to be a bit different. If they had just followed through with some of the moves they played earlier, this peep in particular, then I think the game would have been just a little bit more close. But this is actually a great game that sort of emphasizes the idea that I try to explain as best I can whenever I can, and that if you just play these simple and slow moves, you're not going to be really that far behind. Like the fact that I'm probably about 10 ranks, it's not actually 10. I was thinking it differently, but yeah, I'm quite a few ranks higher than my opponent, and it was only a 20-point game. Really shows why playing simple is actually really important to learn. So I did mention that there was a point where it was possible that they could have maybe been severely attacked, and that was with this bottom side group. I probably would have wanted to jump out first, but taking the base is also fine to do. But I could have been very severe against this group. For example, when they jump here, I could sort of pincer this. This is also threatening to do a lot more damage. They jump out, then I disconnect. I'm going to get something similar as I did in the game. But now they have a lot less eye shape. That's one simple idea to consider. And then after they invade over here, if I just go down, we push, we do the same sort of thing. I believe that they ended up leaving it and going back and taking this endgame move. If I now go to attack this group in some way, you can actually see that this group is not alive right now. And so they need to make sure that everything is going to be fine. These moves are here just to show you that it's just like a bulky 5 shape, not alive. So they still need some moves here. So this endgame move technically was probably a little bit too early on their part, but I didn't really want to punish them for that because maybe they truly thought that they were probably pretty safe. I do think if you think you are safe, you should play away. But if they had spent one more move over here, they would have been much safer, but I would have also probably been a little bit further ahead. So if they jump now, well, maybe I wouldn't be for that because I'm not going to be playing these diagonal moves because it's only influencing my territory and not my opponent. So it's possible I wouldn't have even done anything. So just defending one more time probably would have been fine. They did end up getting there anyway because I decided to not attack the group. But that was the only real time where they really could have lost control of the game was with this bottom side group. And they did a good job in defending it. So I was pretty happy to see this. So far, it seems like compared to the 10Q players, one of the biggest differences is that these 7Q players are focusing on weak groups significantly more. In this game, the 7Q decided to defend themselves significantly more. But in a few other games, people were trying to pressure me a lot more than they were at the 10Q level. So I think that's kind of interesting. Only one more game before we find out if that's consistent enough. Well, maybe not enough games all the way, but consistent enough to talk about. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this game, and I hope you guys are having a good day. Have fun.